The alarm bells rang through the command center of Station Omega-7. Admiral Jake Morrison rubbed his tired eyes and looked at the holographic display showing empty space where the Terran expeditionary fleet should have been. 6 months had passed, since 847 ships and over 2 million people simply vanished without a trace. "Still nothing, sir," reported Lieutenant Sam Martinez from his console. "No wreckage, no signals, no quantum signatures. It's like they never existed." Jake clenched his fists. The largest human fleet ever assembled had been investigating strange energy readings in the void sector when they disappeared. Every ship, from massive battlecruisers to small scout vessels, had gone silent at exactly the same moment. The rescue missions found absolutely nothing. Ambassador Lisa Carter walked into the command center, her face grim. "The Galactic Council is meeting in 1 hour," she said. "They want answers we don't have." "What's the mood out there?" Jake asked. Lisa sighed. "Mixed. The Etherians are genuinely worried about us. Elder Nimara has offered their best search ships. But the Zephyrians..." She paused. High Counselor Vexthul barely hides his joy. He thinks humanity finally got what we deserved. Jake wasn't surprised. Humans had expanded fast across the galaxy, sometimes stepping on alien toes. Their military strength made other species nervous. Some aliens saw the fleet's disappearance as a blessing. Captain Alex Rodriguez's voice crackled over the communication system from his ship, the UES Defiant. "Admiral, we've completed another sweep of the area. My science officer found some unusual readings, but nothing that explains what happened to our people." "What kind of readings?" Jake asked. "Dr. Maya Sullivan thinks they might be connected to dimensional physics. She wants to run more tests." Jake nodded. Dr. Sullivan was one of their best scientists. If anyone could figure out this mystery, it would be her. Give her whatever she needs. Meanwhile, in the Galactic Council chambers, hundreds of alien representatives gathered. The massive hall buzzed with conversations in dozens of languages. Lisa took her seat at the human delegation table, feeling very alone. Usually, Admiral Peterson or General Knox would be here representing human military power. Now Lisa was humanity's only voice among species that ranged from helpful to hostile. High Counselor Vexthul stood up. His tall, thin frame and pale blue skin made him look like a walking icicle. "Fellow council members," he began, "we gathered to discuss the unfortunate fate of the human fleet. While we sympathize with their loss, we must consider what this means for galactic security." Elder Nimara, whose golden skin seemed to glow with inner light, responded quickly. "The Etherian Republic offers full support to locate the missing humans. These people have families, hopes, and dreams. We cannot simply write them off." "Of course," Vexthul said with fake concern. "But we must also think practically. The humans expanded aggressively. They built weapons that could destroy planets. Perhaps the universe itself decided they had gone too far." Lisa stood up, anger burning in her chest. "High Counselor, those were our sons and daughters, our mothers and fathers. They were explorers and protectors, not conquerors." "Were they?" asked Prime Executor Zeltar of the Trade Syndicate. His insect-like features made his expressions hard to read, but his tone suggested doubt. "Human colonies appeared on dozens of worlds in just 50 years. Your military grew faster than any species in recorded history. Because we had to protect ourselves," Lisa shot back. "When humanity first reached the stars, we were attacked by pirates and hostile governments. We built our fleet to survive, not to threaten others." The debate continued for hours. Some species, like the honor-bound Valorians, spoke in support of humanity. Commander Kethrax, a massive warrior with stone-like skin, stood and declared, "Humans fight with courage. They keep their word. Any species that celebrates their disappearance shows cowardice." But others seemed relieved. The Krillian Empire's Representative War Marshal Thekmore made barely veiled comments about new opportunities for expansion. Several smaller species openly discussed claiming human territories. Back on Station Omega-7, Dr. Maya Sullivan worked frantically in her laboratory aboard the UES Discovery. She studied energy readings from the area where the fleet vanished, comparing them to theoretical models of space-time distortions. "Kevin, look at this," She called to her assistant, Dr. Kevin Park. These energy signatures don't match anything in our databases. Kevin examined the data. They're not from any known weapons or natural phenomena. The quantum fluctuation suggests something ripped a hole in space itself. But what could do that? Maya wondered. And why didn't it leave any trace of the ships? Lieutenant Colonel Amy Foster, stationed on the border world of New Sacramento, received troubling reports from her scouts. Commander, we're seeing increased raider activity along the outer rim. Without the fleet's protection, pirate groups are getting bolder. Her communication officer, Sergeant Ryan Davis, added, "The Krillians are also moving ships toward our border. Nothing aggressive yet, but they're testing our defenses." Amy studied the tactical display. Red dots marked enemy positions, while blue dots showed human defenses. The blue dots looked painfully small compared to the growing red clusters. "Send a message to Admiral Morrison. Tell him we need reinforcements immediately." On Earth, President William Chen met with his top advisors in the underground situation room. General Patricia Knox spread holographic maps across the table. "Mr. President, we're spread too thin. The disappearance of the fleet left huge gaps in our defenses." "How long can we hold our current positions?" the President asked. "Maybe 6 months if we're lucky," General Knox replied. "Less if multiple species decide to move against us at once." A door opened, and a man in a dark suit entered. Dr. Nathan Cross looked like an ordinary scientist, but his security clearance was higher than almost anyone in the room. "Mr. President, I believe I might have some answers about the fleet." "Dr. Cross, you've been working on classified projects for decades. What do you know?" Nathan activated a holographic projector. Strange symbols and equations filled the air. 20 years ago, we found an ancient alien ship drifting in deep space. The technology inside was far beyond anything we understood. We've been studying it ever since." "What does this have to do with our missing fleet?" President Chen asked. "The ship contained references to something called dimensional gates, doorways that could move objects across vast distances or even to other realities. I think someone used similar technology on our fleet." General Knox leaned forward. "Are you saying our people are still alive?" "It's possible," Nathan said. "But if I'm right, they're somewhere we can't easily reach them." "Back in space, Captain." Rodriguez received new orders from Admiral Morrison. "Alex, I need you to take the Defiant to the edge of Zephyrian space. Their fleet movement suggests they might be planning something." "Understood, Admiral. What about the search for our missing people?" "We're not giving up," Jake replied. "Dr. Sullivan thinks she's close to a breakthrough, but we also can't let the galaxy fall apart while we search. Our allies are counting on us." As the days passed, the situation grew worse. Trade routes became dangerous as pirates attacked merchant ships that once traveled under human protection. Border skirmishes increased as aggressive species tested humanity's weakened defenses. But in her laboratory, Dr. Maya Sullivan made a discovery that would change everything. The energy readings weren't random. They formed a pattern like a signature left behind by whatever took the fleet. "I think I know what happened to them," she whispered, staring at the data. "And if I'm right, they might not be as lost as we thought." 3 months after Dr. Maya Sullivan's discovery, the galaxy had become a much more dangerous place. Captain Steve Hayes gripped the command chair of the UES Ranger as enemy ships surrounded his small convoy. Without the massive Terran fleet to patrol the trade routes, pirates had grown bold and numerous. "Captain, we're outnumbered 5-1, reported his weapons officer, Lieutenant Sarah Mitchell. "The merchant ships behind us can't outrun those raider vessels." Steve watched the tactical display as red dots closed in on the blue symbols representing civilian transports carrying food and medical supplies to human colonies. "All weapons, target the lead pirate ship. We make them pay for every meter." The space battle erupted with flashes of laser fire and exploding missiles. The Rangers' shields absorbed hit after hit, while Steve's crew fought desperately to protect the helpless cargo ships. They destroyed 2 pirate vessels before their own shields failed. "Hull breach on Deck 7, shouted Chief Engineer Jack Turner over the alarm klaxons. "I can't hold the reactor much longer." Just when defeat seemed certain, Valorian warships appeared from hyperspace. Commander Kethrax's deep voice boomed over the communication channel. "Human vessel, We stand with you against these cowards. The massive stone-skinned warriors drove off the remaining pirates with their superior firepower. After the battle, Kethrax met with Captain Hayes in the Rangers' damaged bridge. Your fleet's absence creates chaos, the Valorian commander said. Honor demands we help, but my people are few. We cannot protect all human territories. Meanwhile, on the border world of New Sacramento, Lieutenant Colonel Amy Foster watched enemy troops land outside the colony's defensive perimeter. The Krillian Empire had finally made their move, claiming the planet contained valuable minerals that belonged to them. Colonel, enemy forces are advancing on all fronts, reported Sergeant Nicole Torres from the communications bunker. They have 3 times our numbers and heavy armor support. Amy studied the battlefield through her binoculars. Krillian soldiers in powered armor moved like metal insects across the rocky landscape. Their War Marshal Thekmor had chosen this moment to strike, knowing humanity couldn't spare reinforcements. What about orbital support? Amy asked. Negative. The UES Defiant is 3 systems away dealing with another crisis. We're on our own. The ground battle lasted 18 brutal hours. Amy's defenders used every trick they knew, setting traps and fighting from prepared positions. They made the Krillians pay dearly for every building, but slowly ran out of ammunition and soldiers. Fall back to the inner perimeter, Amy ordered, as enemy artillery pounded their positions. Make them fight for every meter. On Earth, President William Chen faced his worst nightmare. Reports flooded in from across human space about attacks, raids, and territorial grabs. The Krillian Empire wasn't the only aggressor. The Trade Syndicate had seized control of 3 mining systems, claiming humans had abandoned them. Even some previously neutral species were grabbing pieces of human territory. Sir, we've lost contact with 12 colonies in the past week, General Patricia Knox reported during the emergency cabinet meeting. Our remaining ships are stretched beyond their limits. Dr. Nathan Cross activated his holographic display again, showing new research data. I've been analyzing the energy signatures from the fleet's disappearance. The patterns match theoretical models for dimensional rifts, tiers in space that could transport matter to other realities. Other realities? President Chen asked. You mean parallel universes? Possibly, or distant regions of our own universe that exist outside normal space-time. The ancient alien technology we've been studying suggests such transport is possible, but it requires enormous amounts of energy. General Knox leaned forward. If you're right, who has that kind of power? And why take our fleet? Unknown, Nathan admitted. But I'm working on a way to detect these dimensional rifts. If we can find the right frequency, we might be able to locate our missing people. In deep space, Admiral Jake Morrison coordinated humanity's desperate defense from Station Omega 7. Every day brought new bad news. Pirates controlled major shipping lanes. The Krillian Empire had captured 6 human worlds. The Zephyrian Republic openly celebrated humanity's decline. Admiral, incoming message from Dr. Sullivan, reported Lieutenant Sam Martinez. She says it's urgent. Maya's excited face appeared on the main screen from her laboratory ship. Admiral, I've made a breakthrough. The energy readings from the fleet's disappearance aren't random. They form a specific pattern, like a signature. What kind of signature? Jake asked. Something artificial. The dimensional rift that took our fleet was created deliberately by technology far beyond anything in our databases. But here's the important part. I think I can track where they went. Jake felt hope stir in his chest for the first time in months. How long do you need? Give me 2 weeks and a ship equipped with our most sensitive sensor arrays. I'll need Captain Rodriguez and the Defiant. Captain Alex Rodriguez was fighting his own battle near the Zephyrian border when he received new orders. His ship had been playing cat and mouse with Zephyrian scout vessels that were obviously mapping human defenses. Captain, the Zephyrians are pulling back, reported his tactical officer, Commander Ryan Davis. They've gathered enough intelligence about our positions. Alex knew what that meant. The Zephyrians were preparing for a major offensive. High Counselor Vexthul had finally decided to finish what he saw as humanity's inevitable destruction. Set course for Dr. Sullivan's coordinates, Alex ordered. We have a more important mission now. Agent Nicole Torres, working undercover in alien territories, sent encrypted reports back to Earth through hidden communication networks. Her intelligence painted a grim picture of galactic politics. Multiple species are forming alliances against humanity, she reported during a secret meeting with Ambassador Lisa Carter. They see us as wounded animals and want to finish us off before we recover. What about our allies? Lisa asked. The Etherians and Valorians remain loyal, but they're outnumbered. Even some species that claimed friendship are starting to distance themselves. They're afraid of being associated with what they think is a dying civilization. The situation on human worlds grew desperate. Colony after colony sent distress calls as they faced attacks from pirates, raiders, or aggressive alien governments. The remaining human ships could only respond to a fraction of these emergencies. Commander Kate Williams, newly promoted to captain of the science vessel UES Explorer, worked with an international team of scientists trying to understand the fleet's disappearance. Her ship carried researchers from Earth, Etherian quantum physicists, and even a few Valorian engineers. The energy patterns are definitely artificial, reported Dr. Kevin Park during their daily briefing. Whatever technology created that dimensional rift is centuries ahead of current galactic science. Could it be a weapon? Asked Captain Williams. Possibly, but it's strange. If someone wanted to destroy our fleet, there are easier ways. This feels more like transportation. Dr. Elena Roberts, the team's xenobiologist, studied the reports from human colonies under attack. I'm seeing a pattern in the attacks. Most aggressors are species that always resented human expansion. They're not just grabbing territory. They're trying to prove that humans were never as strong as we seemed. On New Sacramento, Lieutenant Colonel Amy Foster's defenders held the colony's central district, but barely. Krillian forces controlled most of the planet, and their war marshal had demanded complete surrender. Colonel, we're down to our last ammunition depot, reported Sergeant Torres. Medical supplies are almost gone, and we have over 200 wounded. Amy looked at her exhausted soldiers. They had fought beyond all reasonable limits, but everyone knew the end was near. Then her communication officer picked up an unexpected signal. Colonel, I'm receiving a transmission from the UES Ranger. Captain Hayes says he's bringing reinforcements. How many ships? Amy asked hopefully. Just one, ma'am. But he says help is coming from an unexpected source. Captain Hayes's damaged ship limped into orbit around New Sacramento, followed by something that made Amy's jaw drop. A massive Etherian hospital ship, gleaming white and beautiful, took position above the colony. Elder Nimara's gentle voice spoke over the communication channel. Humans of New Sacramento, the Etherian Republic offers medical aid and safe passage to all civilians. We will not abandon our friends in their darkest hour. The arrival of Etherian support changed the situation completely. War Marshal Thekmore found himself facing not just desperate human defenders, but the prospect of fighting one of the galaxy's most respected species. The Krillian Empire wasn't ready for that kind of diplomatic disaster. This isn't over, Thekmore promised before withdrawing his forces. Humanity's time is ending, and temporary delays won't change that. But Amy Foster watched the Etherian medical teams evacuate wounded civilians and felt something she hadn't experienced in months: hope. Humanity might be battered and outnumbered, but they weren't completely alone. Dr. Maya Sullivan's research ship approached the coordinates where the Terran fleet had vanished. Her sensors detected the faint energy signature she had been tracking, like an echo of something enormous that had happened months earlier. The UES Defiant drifted silently through the void sector, where the Terran fleet had vanished. Dr. Maya Sullivan stood in the ship's advanced laboratory, watching her instruments detect energy patterns invisible to normal sensors. Captain Alex Rodriguez joined her, studying the swirling data on her screens. What exactly are we looking for? Alex asked. Maya pointed to a cluster of strange readings. These quantum fluctuations shouldn't exist in empty space. Something created a massive disruption here, like tearing a hole through the fabric of reality itself. And you think our fleet went through this hole? I'm certain of it. The energy signature matches theoretical models for dimensional rifts, but creating something this large would require technology far beyond anything we know about. Dr. Kevin Park, working at another console, suddenly looked up with excitement. Maya, you need to see this. I'm detecting a pattern in the quantum distortions. It's not random. Someone or something deliberately created this rift. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Nathan Cross met with President William Chen in the secure underground facility. Nathan's classified research had finally produced results that could change everything. "Mr. President, I've decoded more of the ancient alien technology we found 20 years ago. The ship we discovered wasn't just advanced. It was built by something called the Architects." "The Architects?" "According to the data fragments, they're an artificial intelligence created by a species that died out millions of years ago. Their purpose was to monitor and guide the development of younger civilizations." President Chen felt a chill run down his spine. "Monitor and guide? What does that mean?" "Unknown, but here's what worries me. The technology that created the dimensional rift matches the Architect systems perfectly. I think they took our fleet." General Patricia Knox, who had been listening silently, finally spoke. "Why would this AI take our people? And are they still alive?" "I don't know," Nathan admitted. "But I'm working on a way to make contact. If the Architects can hear us, maybe we can negotiate." Back in space, Dr. Maya Sullivan's sensors detected something that made her heart race. Deep within a nearby nebula, hidden by swirling clouds of gas and cosmic dust, her instruments found traces of the same exotic energy that had taken the fleet. "Captain Rodriguez, set course for those coordinates," Maya ordered. "I think we've found where the rift leads." The Defiant moved carefully through the colorful nebula, avoiding dangerous energy storms and gravitational anomalies. As they reached the center, Maya's sensors went wild with readings she had never seen before. "There," she whispered, pointing at her display. "A stable dimensional rift, hidden inside the nebula. It's like a doorway to somewhere else." Alex studied the swirling portal of energy that appeared on their main screen. "Can we go through it?" "Theoretically, yes. But we don't know what's on the other side. It could be anywhere in the universe or even another dimension entirely." Lieutenant Colonel Amy Foster, recovering from the battle on New Sacramento, received an encrypted message that brought both hope and fear. Agent Nicole Torres had discovered something important during her undercover work in alien territories. "Colonel, I've been monitoring Zephyrian communications. High Counselor Vexthul knows something about the fleet's disappearance. He received classified information weeks before it happened." Amy felt anger surge through her. "Are you saying the Zephyrians were involved?" "Not directly, but they had advance warning. Someone told them to prepare for humanity's sudden weakness. Vexthul has been planning his offensive for months. This news changed everything. If alien species had known about the fleet's disappearance before it happened, then the vanishing wasn't an accident or natural disaster. Someone had deliberately removed humanity's greatest strength." Captain Kate Williams commanded a joint investigation, fleet consisting of human, Etherian, and Valorian ships. They had been studying the energy readings from multiple locations where strange phenomena had been reported over the past year. "Dr. Roberts, what do your biological sensors show?" Kate asked her science officer. Dr. Elena Roberts studied her readings carefully. "Captain, I'm detecting traces of organic matter that don't match any known species. Whatever created these dimensional rifts, it's not entirely mechanical." Commander Kethrax, the Valorian warrior accompanying their mission, examined the tactical implications. If an unknown species has technology this advanced, they represent a threat to all galactic civilizations, not just humans. "Or they could be protectors," suggested Elder Nimara's representative, a young Etherian scientist named Zaratel. "Perhaps they removed the human fleet to prevent some greater disaster." On Station Omega-7, Admiral Jake Morrison coordinated the desperate defense of human space while managing the investigation into the fleet's disappearance. Every day brought new challenges as more species moved against weakened human positions. "Admiral, the Krillian Empire is massing forces near the Beta Centauri system," reported Lieutenant Sam Martinez. "Intelligence suggests they plan to capture our main shipyard facility." "What ships do we have available?" Jake asked. "The UES Ranger is still undergoing repairs. The UES Guardian is protecting the Sol system. We might be able to spare 2 destroyers." Jake closed his eyes in frustration. 2 destroyers against a Krillian battle fleet was suicide, but losing the shipyard would cripple humanity's ability to build new vessels. "Sir, incoming priority transmission from Dr. Sullivan," Martinez announced. Maya's face appeared on the main screen, her expression mix of excitement and concern. "Admiral, we found it. A stable dimensional rift hidden in the Serpent Nebula. I believe this is where our fleet went. Can you determine what's on the other side?" "Not from here. Someone would have to go through the rift to find out. But Admiral, there's something else. The energy pattern suggests this portal was created specifically to transport large numbers of ships. Someone planned this." Jake felt pieces of the puzzle clicking together. "Dr. Cross believes an ancient AI called the Architects took our fleet. If he's right, they might still be alive." "Then we need to make contact," Maya said. "I'm requesting permission to take a small team through the rift." "Absolutely not. We can't risk losing more people. Admiral, with respect, we're losing this war. Our colonies are falling. Our allies are outnumbered and our enemies grow stronger every day. If there's any chance our fleet is alive and can return, we have to try." Dr. Nathan Cross, working frantically in his laboratory on Earth, made a breakthrough that confirmed his worst fears. The ancient architect technology contained detailed records of previous civilizations, and the pattern was always the same. "President Chen, you need to see this," Nathan said during an emergency video conference. "The architects have intervened in galactic development before. They've transported the military forces of 12 different species over the past million years." "What happened to those species?" the president asked. Though he dreaded the answer, most of them collapsed without their fleets. A few adapted and survived, but in greatly reduced circumstances. The architects seemed to target civilizations they considered too aggressive or expansionist. General Knox leaned forward. "Are you saying they took our fleet to cripple humanity?" "I think they took our fleet to test us. The question is whether we pass or fail their evaluation." Commander Ryan Davis, piloting his fighter squadron on patrol near Jupiter, detected something that made him radio Earth immediately. A small alien ship had appeared in the outer solar system, broadcasting a message in multiple languages. "Earth Control, this is Squadron Leader Davis. I have an unidentified vessel requesting permission to approach. They claim to represent something called the Architect Council. On Earth, President Chen authorized the alien ship to land at a secure military facility. The vessel was unlike anything humans had seen, smooth, crystalline, and seemingly grown, rather than built. When it opened, a being that looked like living starlight emerged. "I am Harold Luxara of the Architects," the being announced in perfect English. "I come to explain why your fleet was taken and what you must do to see them." Again, "Where are our people?" President Chen demanded. "Safe, but in a place outside normal space-time. They are being evaluated as your species is being evaluated. The architects created us to prevent civilizations from destroying themselves and others through unchecked expansion. You had no right to take our people," General Knox said angrily. "We had every right," Luxara replied calmly. "Your species expanded across 50 worlds in 50 years. You built weapons capable of cracking planets. You showed the same patterns that led to the destruction of the Vactari Empire, the Stellar Dominion, and 10 other civilizations." Dr. Nathan Cross stepped forward. "What kind of evaluation? What do we have to prove?" "That humanity can grow beyond its current nature. That you can become protectors instead of conquerors. That you can cooperate instead of dominate. Your fleet faces challenges designed to test these qualities." "And if they fail?" Luxara's expression became sad. "Then they will be relocated to a distant galaxy where they can develop without threatening others. Your remaining people will be left to face the consequences of your previous actions." President Chen felt the weight of his species' future on his shoulders. "How do we prove ourselves worthy?" "By how you handle your current crisis. Your enemies expect you to." Dr. Maya Sullivan stood before the swirling dimensional rift in the Serpent Nebula, her heart pounding with determination and fear. The probe she had designed carried more than just sensors. It contained humanity's message to the mysterious. Architects, probe launched, reported Captain Alex Rodriguez from the Defiance Bridge. It's entering the rift now. The small device disappeared into the portal of twisted spacetime, carrying with it recordings of human history, art, music, and testimonies from people across the galaxy. Maya had included everything from children's drawings to scientific discoveries, showing the full spectrum of human achievement and potential. Now we wait, Maya said quietly. If our people are really on the other side, maybe they'll get our message. Meanwhile, in the pocket dimension where the Terran fleet had been trapped for months, Admiral Claire Peterson stood on the bridge of the UES Leviathan, staring at the impossible landscape beyond the view screen. Instead of stars, strange geometric structures floated in a sea of shifting colors. The 847 ships of her fleet hung suspended in this alien space, their crews struggling to understand their situation. Admiral, incoming transmission from the Architect Council, reported Communications Officer Lieutenant Jack Turner. They want to meet with you again. Claire had been negotiating with the ancient artificial intelligences for weeks, trying to understand why they had brought the fleet to this place. The architects appeared as beings of pure energy, their thoughts vast and ancient beyond human comprehension. The lead architect, who called itself Harmony Prime, materialized on the bridge as a figure of shifting light. Admiral Peterson, your species continues to surprise us. We have received a message from your home dimension. What kind of message? Claire asked. A probe containing representations of human culture and achievement. Most species we test focus only on military strength or technological advancement. Your people chose to send art, music, and stories. Dr. Elena Roberts, the fleet's chief xenobiologist, stepped forward. What does that mean for our evaluation? It suggests your species has depths we had not fully considered, but the true test continues in your home dimension. How humanity responds to crisis will determine whether you pass or fail our judgment. Captain Ryan Davis, commanding a squadron of fighters on patrol around the fleet, reported strange phenomena throughout their prison dimension. Admiral, my pilots are detecting structures in the distance that seem to be artificial. Should we investigate? Negative. The architects have warned us about exploring too far. This place has rules we don't understand. In normal space, the galaxy continued its descent into chaos. The Krillian Empire had captured the Beta Centauri shipyards despite desperate human resistance. War Marshal Thekmore broadcast his victory across all communication channels, declaring that humanity's age of expansion was over. Lieutenant Colonel Amy Foster, now commanding the defense of the Mars colonies, watched enemy fleets gather at the edge of the solar system. The Zephyrians had finally made their move, bringing hundreds of ships to finish what they saw as humanity's inevitable destruction. Colonel, we have reports of Krillian forces joining the Zephyrian fleet, reported Sergeant Nicole Torres. They're forming a massive alliance against Earth. Amy studied the tactical displays showing red dots surrounding humanity's home system. Even with their remaining ships and orbital defenses, the odds looked hopeless. On Earth, President William Chen met with the architect Harold Luxara in an emergency session. The crystalline being had remained on Earth for weeks, observing human responses to the crisis. Your enemies gather for a final assault, Luxara observed. How will humanity respond? Will you strike first to prevent their attack? Will you abandon your weaker colonies to protect Earth? Will you ask your allies to sacrifice themselves for your survival? We'll fight to protect our people and our friends, President Chen replied, but we won't start a war of revenge. Interesting. Most species in your situation choose aggression. They believe overwhelming force will solve their problems. Dr. Nathan Cross, working alongside the Herald, had learned much about architect, technology, and philosophy. You're testing whether we can evolve beyond our current limitations, aren't you? This whole crisis is designed to see if we'll choose wisdom over strength. Correct. Your species shows promise, but your history is filled with violence and domination. We needed to see if those patterns would continue as you expanded across the galaxy. General Patricia Knox coordinated humanity's defense from the Pentagon War Room. Reports came in from across human space as remaining ships fought desperate holding actions against superior numbers. Ma'am, the UES Ranger reports they're heavily outnumbered near Proxima Centauri, reported her aide, Major Sam Martinez. Captain Hayes is requesting permission to withdraw. Tell him to hold position but avoid unnecessary casualties. We're not throwing lives away for empty gestures. This was the key test, Patricia realized. How humanity chose to fight this battle would determine their future. They could go down in a blaze of glory, taking as many enemies as possible with them, or they could fight smart, preserving lives and resources while looking for better solutions. Captain Kate Williams led the joint human-alien investigation fleet toward the Serpent Nebula, where Dr. Sullivan had discovered the dimensional rift. Her ships included Etherian science vessels and Valorian warships, proof that some species still supported humanity despite their weakness. Captain, we're detecting massive energy buildup near the rift, reported her science officer, Dr. Kevin Park. Something big is about to happen. Elder Nimara's voice came over the communication channel from her flagship. Whatever occurs, the Etherian Republic stands with humanity. True friendship is tested in dark times, not bright ones. Commander Keithrax added his deep rumble from the Valorian battlecruiser. Honor demands we fight beside those who have proven themselves worthy. Humans show courage in the face of impossible odds. Back in the pocket dimension, Admiral Peterson received a message that changed everything. The probe Dr. Sullivan had sent through the rift had reached them, bringing news from home and something more. A plan. Admiral, Dr. Sullivan has found a way to communicate through the dimensional barrier, reported Lieutenant Turner. She's uploading technical specifications for a quantum transmitter that could allow two-way communication. Dr. Elena Roberts studied the incoming data. If we can build this device, we might be able to coordinate with our people back home, maybe even find a way to return. Do it, Admiral Peterson ordered. Use whatever resources we need. The fleet's engineers and scientists worked frantically to construct the quantum transmitter using materials salvaged from their ships. The architects watched with interest but didn't interfere, curious to see what humanity would accomplish. 3 days later, the device activated, creating a stable communication link between dimensions. Dr. Maya Sullivan's face appeared on screens throughout the trapped fleet, bringing hope for the first time in months. Admiral Peterson, thank God you're alive, Maya said, tears in her eyes. We've been searching for you for so long. What's the situation at home? Claire asked. Not good. Our enemies are gathering for a final assault on Earth. But we've learned something important. This whole crisis is a test. The architects are evaluating whether humanity deserves to survive and expand, or whether we're too dangerous to allow continued growth. Admiral Peterson felt the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. What kind of test? Whether we can grow beyond our current nature, whether we'll choose cooperation over domination, wisdom over strength, protection over conquest. Doctor, Elena Roberts understood immediately. They want to see if we'll become better than we were. Exactly. And I think I know how to prove ourselves worthy. Meanwhile, in normal space, the final confrontation approached. High Counselor Vexthol of the Zephyrian Republic broadcast his ultimatum to Earth. Surrender all human military forces and accept permanent limitation to their home system, or face complete destruction. President Chen called an emergency session of humanity's remaining leaders. They want us to choose between slavery and extinction, but I think there's a third option. What do you mean? Asked General Knox. We show them what humanity is really capable of. Not our ability to destroy, but our ability to protect, to sacrifice, to grow beyond what we were. Harold Luxara listened to these discussions with growing interest. You begin to understand the nature of your test. The question remains, can your actions match your words? In the pocket dimension, Admiral Peterson gathered her senior officers for a crucial meeting. If we're being tested on our ability to evolve as a species, then we need to prove that we can change, that we can be more than just warriors and conquerors. How do we do that from here? Asked Captain Davis. By what we do when we get home, Peterson replied. The architects won't release us unless they believe we've learned something important. We need to show them that this experience has changed us. Dr. Elena Roberts studied the strange structures visible in the distance through their view screen. Admiral, I think those formations aren't just decorative. They might be teaching tools, ways for us to learn about other civilizations that have faced the same test. Then we study them. We learn everything we can about how to be better than we were. Dr. Maya Sullivan's broadcast reached every corner of the galaxy, transmitted through the dimensional rift with technology that amazed even the architects. Her voice carried hope and determination as she revealed the truth about humanity's test. Fellow beings of the galaxy, the Terran fleet was not destroyed. They were taken by an ancient intelligence called the Architects to determine if humanity deserves to continue expanding among the stars. But this test affects all of us, because it's really about what kind of galaxy we want to create together. High Counselor Vexthul, commanding the massive fleet preparing to attack Earth, listened to the broadcast with growing unease. "Impossible," he muttered. "The humans are trying to trick us with elaborate lies." But Elder Nimara, whose Etherian ships accompanied the human investigation fleet, responded immediately. "Dr. Sullivan speaks truth. Our sensors confirm the dimensional rift and the energy signatures she describes. The architects are real." War Marshal Thekmore of the Krillian Empire sneered at the revelation. "Even if this story is true, it changes nothing. Humanity has shown itself to be dangerous. Let them face their judgment alone." Meanwhile, in the pocket dimension, Admiral Claire Peterson stood before Harmony Prime, the lead architect, as her entire fleet waited for the final verdict. "Your species has been educational," the ancient intelligence admitted. "When we first observed humanity, we saw only aggression and rapid expansion, but your people's response to this crisis has been unexpected." "How so?" Admiral Peterson asked. "Most species we test become more violent when faced with adversity. They strike out at enemies, abandon allies, and seek revenge above all else. Humanity has chosen a different path." Dr. Elena Roberts stepped forward. "We've learned that strength isn't just about weapons and ships. It's about protecting others, even when it costs us. It's about growing beyond our fears." Captain Ryan Davis, representing the younger officers of the fleet, added, "We want to be explorers and protectors, not conquerors. This experience has shown us what really matters." In normal space, President William Chen made a decision that would define humanity's future. Instead of preparing for a desperate last battle, he opened communication channels to every species in the galaxy. To all civilizations within reach of this transmission, humanity formally requests a new kind of alliance, not based on fear or domination, but on mutual protection and shared growth. We offer our technology, our resources, and our commitment to defend any species threatened by aggression. The response was immediate and divided. Several species, led by the Etherians and Valorians, accepted the proposal enthusiastically. Elder Nimara's ships moved to defend Earth alongside the remaining human vessels, but the aggressive species saw this as weakness. Vexthul accelerated his attack timeline, believing this was the perfect moment to finish humanity once and for all. "All ships prepare for final assault," he commanded. "We end this pathetic species today." The combined Zephyrian-Krillian fleet, over 1,000 ships strong, moved toward Earth's solar system. They expected to find desperate humans making a hopeless last stand. Instead, they found something unprecedented in galactic history. Captain Kate Williams coordinated the defense from her flagship, but the defending fleet was unlike anything seen before. Human ships fought alongside Etherian medical vessels that had been converted to carry defensive shields. Valorian warships protected smaller craft while sharing their advanced weapons technology. "This is impossible," War Marshal Thekmore growled as his ships engaged the defenders. "How are these few ships holding against our superior numbers?" The answer came from an unexpected source. Species across the galaxy that had remained neutral were suddenly joining the battle, not to attack humanity, but to defend the new alliance. The trade syndicate, previously opportunistic, sent their fastest ships to evacuate civilians. Even some Krillian captains began defecting, inspired by the cooperative spirit they witnessed. Back in the pocket dimension, the architects reached their decision. Harmony Prime's form became brighter, almost jubilant. "Your species has passed the test," the ancient AI announced. "Not through strength of arms, but through strength of character. You have shown the capacity to evolve beyond your original nature." Admiral Peterson felt tears running down her face. "Does this mean we can go home?" "More than that. You will return with gifts that will help your species fulfill its new role in the galaxy." The trapped fleet watched in amazement as the architects revealed advanced technologies, defensive shields that could protect entire star systems, medical advances that could heal previously fatal injuries, and communication systems that would allow instant coordination across galactic distances. "But remember," Harmony Prime warned, "these gifts come with responsibility. Use them to protect and nurture, not to dominate and destroy." Dr. Maya Sullivan, monitoring the situation from the dimensional rift, detected massive energy buildup around the portal. "Captain Rodriguez, something big is happening. The rift is expanding." The portal grew larger and larger until it could accommodate entire fleets. Then, like a miracle, the first ships of the Terran fleet began emerging. The UES Leviathan led the way, followed by hundreds of vessels that had been lost for so many months. The sight of the returning fleet had an immediate impact on the battle raging around Earth. Krillian and Zephyrian ships found themselves facing not just the few defending vessels, but the full might of humanity's military power. But Admiral Peterson didn't order an attack. Instead, she opened communication channels to all combatants. "To all ships in this system, this is Admiral Claire Peterson of the Terran fleet. We have returned not to seek revenge, but to offer protection. Any vessel that ceases hostilities immediately will be allowed safe passage home." War Marshal Thekmore laughed bitterly. "You think we fear your returning ships? We still outnumber you." "You misunderstand," Peterson replied calmly. "We're not threatening you. We're offering you the same choice we were given, the chance to evolve beyond what you were." To demonstrate her point, Admiral Peterson activated the new defensive technology the architects had provided. Massive energy shields appeared around every human colony, every allied ship, every civilian transport in the system. The shields didn't just protect. They actively healed damage to ships that approached peacefully. The effect was extraordinary. Krillian captains who had been fighting desperately to destroy human ships suddenly found their own vessels being repaired by the same technology they had been attacking. The cognitive dissonance was overwhelming. Captain Steve Hayes, commanding the UES Ranger, watched enemy ships beginning to stand down. "Admiral, several Krillian vessels are requesting permission to withdraw. They say they don't understand what's happening, but they don't want to fight anymore." High Counselor Vex Thule, seeing his alliance crumbling around him, made one last desperate attack on the Earth's surface. His flagship's weapons charged for a planet-killing strike. But the attack never came. Commander Kethrax's Valorian ship intercepted the blast, sacrificing itself to protect Earth. The massive warrior's last transmission reached every ship in the system. Honor is not about winning or losing. It is about protecting those who cannot protect themselves. This is what humanity has taught us. The Valorian sacrifice broke the last resistance among the attacking fleets. Ship after ship stood down, many of their crews openly weeping at the nobility they had witnessed. Vexthul found himself alone, his own officers refusing to continue the attack. "This isn't over," he transmitted. "One day, humanity's true nature will emerge again." "Perhaps," Admiral Peterson replied. "But when it does, we'll be ready to be better than we were." 6 months later, the galaxy had transformed. The Terran Institute for Dimensional Research, led by Dr. Maya Sullivan and Dr. Nathan Cross, shared architect technology with allied species while ensuring proper safeguards. Captain Kate Williams commanded the first multi-species exploration fleet, beginning humanity's new role as protectors rather than conquerors. The aggressive species found themselves increasingly isolated. The Krillian Empire faced internal rebellion as many of their people chose to join the new Galactic Protection Alliance. Even some Zephyrians began questioning Vexthul's leadership, inspired by the cooperation they witnessed. President Chen, now serving as the first human representative to the expanded Galactic Council, reflected on the changes during a ceremony honoring Commander Kethrax's sacrifice. The architects taught us that true strength comes not from our ability to destroy, but from our willingness to protect, to grow, and to help others become more than they thought possible. Harold Luxara, who had remained on Earth as an advisor, nodded approvingly. Your species has exceeded our expectations. You have become what we hoped you could be. Dr. Elena Roberts, now Director of Interspecies Cultural Exchange, established programs to help former enemies understand the new paradigm. Even War Marshal Thekmore, stripped of his command, found himself attending rehabilitation sessions designed to help aggressive species adapt to cooperative society. Lieutenant Colonel Amy Foster, promoted to General and Commander of the Solar Defense Force, oversaw the protection of dozens of species' homeworlds using the new SHIELD technology, the same systems that,